Hi, here together on a Thursday, and it's live, obviously. Um, we're trying some things out. I'm not sure if I like it yet, but we'll get there. But anyway, um, hi. So I did start a second channel, and I'm gonna link it, comments, description, somewhere. Um, oh, I just got a good question over text, and maybe. um, But anyway, hi. So on Thursdays, we are going to read Reddit stories. And I apologize that we're doing it on the phone today. Like, sorry. But I have started just like, I don't want to say because this sounds very like whatever, but like saying yes, but not really. But like, if I have an idea, I'm just going to try it. I just have to now because like it's starting to work out. Some stuff going on in the background that I can't really like say yet, but there's some stuff going on and it's very exciting. Um, so yeah, the new channel, it is KT 3.14, no spaces, KT 3.14. Um, and it's going to be where we're going to get together on Thursdays. We're going to read Reddit stories. Um, Tonight, we are going to read some malicious compliance stories because sometimes they just crack me up. Um, if there are other subreddits that you guys love, please put them in the chat or send them to me somehow. And yeah, we'll do Reddit stories on Thursdays. So, um, with that, we are going to read one tonight, probably a couple. We'll probably try to keep these to like half an hour, um, just because after that, you guys are going to be either plotting your own revenge, compliance, things of that nature. But okay, this one, hmm. Okay. Ooh, let's see if this is any good. This one is titled Delicious Double Whammy Malicious Compliance. All right. This was posted a month ago by user the Dragon Doji. So you guys can dig further into the comments if you would like after this. But he starts by saying, my wife recently performed some tasty malicious compliance, so I thought I'd combine it with her previous malicious compliance from 6 months previous. Love it. My wife works in the finance department for a government contractor. They're hybrid, but mostly all work from home due to limited office space, with the expectation her team is on site Monday and Tuesday. Seems reasonable. 3 days at home, 2 days in the office. In this role, she has a busy end of month every month, with the whole team working to post figures and is often required to work late into the evening or for a few hours on the weekend to finalize the month end. This is important for later. Is she being paid extra for this, or is she salaried and so she's just expected to be there when they say, be here? Audio is spotty. Is it still spotty? Are things just weird for a second? Okay. Due to insane commuter traffic, she prefers to start at 7 and finish at 3 p.m. so that the commute is 30 minutes instead of an hour or more each way, just sitting in congested traffic. So she's still there 8 hours a day. Okay. 6 months ago or so, management issued management okay, issued an edict requiring core hours, 8 to 4, when in the office and more in office days. My wife emails management stating that requiring her to sit in traffic for a wasted additional 4 to 5 hours a week would mean her evening and weekend flexibility would no longer be available. Cue a management response of team player, blah, blah, blah. Of course. My wife responds with a breakdown of time within her paid 40-hour week and how the flexibility established and continued since COVID has benefited the team. But as that flexibility is being reduced, it has a natural effect on her flexibility. They insist. Of course they do. So she leaves the office after core hours, gets stuck in traffic, and suddenly misses the end of day Teams call. Of course, management doesn't appreciate this reality, but she has the emails of their insistence, can't control traffic patterns, and management doesn't want to schedule the meeting earlier. If they want her on the call, either she reverts to her original schedule or enters into overtime to take it in the office. They suggest her previous schedule for the foreseeable future to aid team cohesion. Okay, perfect. Oh, you guys in the chat, I love you so much. Recently, her management decided that all overtime has to now be approved by a direct line manager. Cut to last week. My wife has been exiting meetings on the dot at the hour. Sorry, I've got a hard stop now due to no approved overtime. Bam, drops from the meeting. She's even starting to affect other team members, with her and a colleague ceasing work on the dot due to not approved. Hey, I have a hard start and stop time too, and it has been brought up that we are not to do any work before we clock in. So guess who doesn't anymore? And I'm there like 10 minutes early. I sit around, fiddle fart on this little thing, eat my breakfast. And at 8 o'clock, I open my emails. Because, nope. Management is, of course, on the hook for incomplete end-of-month figures and starts inquiring. The team replies with the OT edict. All OT to require manager approval. It wasn't pre-approved, so I stopped working to adhere to the new policy. My wife mentioned that they haven't responded to this yet, but it's been weeks already. All of this after management still hasn't backfilled an open department position for 5 or more months, so they're down an additional person. I am now thoroughly enjoying her work stories and think reading this sub to her over the years may have had a positive impact. That's right, we're not bad influences, we're helpers. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's read some of these comments. Oh, I did that once in an online training, Friday before a long weekend. Everyone else in my unit got early release, but I was in this training. Okay. Trainer asked if we want to cut lunch short so we can finish a few minutes early. We all agree. End of scheduled training comes. Trainer still droning on. At 1 minute past my end of duty day, I interrupted to say I was leaving. He asked if I could just complete their little survey first, and I said no. I tried to do it early, and it would not let me submit and zeroed out my responses. I was not happy. Yeah. You gotta love team building, training things on a Friday. Right? I don't listen. You're going to retire. You are going to move in with me, or we're going to find a house in my neighborhood. And then you can have whatever hours you want. You'll be free. and we'll finally have like houses across from each other. Sister. Let's see. So there's a lot of teachers in the comments. Oh, here's a good one. I once attended a meeting from the car. I wasn't driving. And my boss said that was unprofessional, so I hung up. He then later wrote me up for hanging up on a meeting with an important client. It was important, so I tried to be there, even in my commute. Sheesh. Yeah. So, oh, this is a good one. We like to think of ourselves as more of a family than a company. We all need to put in that extra work and make sacrifices so that our stakeholders are happy. Huh? You want to be paid for your efforts. You're not being much of a team player. Yeah, yeah. That's a team until we all. Never mind. Yeah. Done. Listen, I don't know why. I don't know why you think I'm joking. Come on. We'll make it work. I know a realtor. Justin can visit. Here's a question. Okay. The end of the day Teams call that's off the clock, right? Wife was already driving home. So were her coworkers also leaving then, having to also attend this meeting? I ask because if her workday is done and they still expect her in a meeting, she's performing work off the clock, which the labor board loves to hear. If she's salary though, then damn. That got 106 upvotes. Yeah. Oh, and a comment to that, if she's still on the clock for it, her commute should be considered office to office travel on the clock. So she should be getting like 10. Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of talked about that in the commute, like 5 or more extra hours a week if she has to wait. But yeah, I don't know. Because then you have companies that are like, well, if the drive's too long, move closer. Yeah. Yeah. There's always a comeback for something like that. Let's see. Oh, I don't like those. The where people just paying pennies because you might be mad at the bank or the wherever, but yeah, that little lady working there, she's probably not the problem. Oh. Okay. Need all the equipment back? Fine. This project is all yours too. Good morning. Inspired by another post of removed admin privileges, here's one of my tales of internal concepts not meeting external realities. I was working remotely for a European-based manufacturer of, at least my division, high-end broadcast processing equipment. They also made other pro equipment, but this area was the highest end and by far the most technically demanding. Very nichey, very configuration dependent, etc. Great technical staff and developers in Europe. We had great relationship being a bunch of tech nerds who could talk about IP ranges and capacitor values for hours. The US office just took orders from HQ over there. Had some good basic techs, but not set up to do any high-end troubleshooting, which is exactly why I existed. There was an acquisition coming up and auditors started to be involved. We had to send an inventory of all of our computers and test gear, etc. Fine, whatever. Well, remember that setup dependent part? I was right in the middle of a huge project with one of the largest US broadcasters, which had already resulted in one of the largest upgrade sales this division had ever made. I was testing some fresh from the sandbox SNMP features. I don't know what SNMP means. So I know there are techie and whatnot folkies that watch this. So if you would put in the chat if you know what SNMP means. This is pretty old tech that is still being used. So I enlisted an older Super Micro server I had been barely using for remotely accessing some kit in my workshop to do some basic SNMP functions to make sure these new features didn't bung anything up before I literally put them in air on 50 plus stations. Things were working fine with tests. I'd get a new revision first thing in the morning, bang on it a bit, send it off to my tech contact by my EOD at the network, which was his morning. Yeah, probably between 5 and 8 hours time difference. Maybe more if they're in California. I'm assuming he's on the East Coast, but if he was on the West Coast, that's even longer. Oh my goodness. Not terribly difficult, but pretty nichey. And also one reason I worked for this company. No one knew at all what any of this was in North America. Okay. So auditors are involved, and the North American office that just takes orders sees this Super Micro server on the inventory list, and it's just the end of the world. Why is there a server out in the field? Why do you need so much test equipment? Who approved this? Etc. My first couple of replies were just disregarded because no one knew what I was talking about. A decision was made that the server had to go back. A third insistence from me that this was actively used and who else would take this over fell on deaf ears. Of course it did. It was the most important thing in the entire world that they get this server back. It's just a junky old Super Micro 1RU utility beast that cost maybe $1,000 at most. For whatever reason, I was feeling extra snarky the day I should have boxed the server up. So I wrote an extra friendly note to all the techs, the decision makers at the US office, and to my tech contact and his boss at the network, introducing everyone, thanking them for taking over this critical project, and thanking HQ for helping take on this time-sensitive test phase that would really help me get onto other critical projects. Oh, I love it. I love it. About an hour later, I get a really odd email from one of the decision makers in the US office. He doesn't want to admit that no one at HQ doesn't know what the hell I was talking about technically, and simultaneously realized this is a huge account that would totally affect their bonuses if another nice sale came through. Yep. And all of those folks talk to each other. So you might not just not get this sale or whatever, but yeah, they all go to the same conventions and yeah, they talk. You're going to lose a lot of business. Hee hee hee. They were trying to save face and cover for their techs by suggesting maybe I get them up to speed on the project before we do anything drastic. I just replied to his email with the tracking information again and mentioned I had suggested this 3 times now. 25 minutes later, I get a freaked out phone call from the head tech at the US HQ. Him and his supervisor, the decision maker, have just got a very nice call from my contact's boss at the network. They were so happy with the service so far. I had a great relationship at this point, and excited that having someone else checking these updates would allow me to be on site more, big future plans, etc. He is wondering who is going to do this work now. Now this comes up? I just repeated that 3 times this was brought up now, so clearly this decision was educated. They know best. So now there's a full-blown panic at US HQ. Knowing this, I send a note to the developers in Europe to make sure the new updated code goes to the catch-all address for the US HQ tech team and not me, because they will be doing the testing going forward. This has the desired effect because now the head of development in Europe is on the horn with the decision maker in the US, wondering about who they recently hired without approval to be able to have these in house resources now. By the time that UPS pickup was supposed to have happened, somehow having this old server back was no longer the highest priority. In fact, I never heard about the server again. Oh, top comment. Enjoyed this more than I expected I would. The, oh, wow, thanks for taking this off my hands approach is a great way to do MC. Another comment. This isn't malicious compliance, it's diabolical compliance. Oh, it so is. Oh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Oh. So somebody asks, so what was the outcome as regards the client? How was all of this explained away to them? In the end, I had to go take a trip to the client's NOC earlier than scheduled, then go for a nice Thai lunch, great folks there, and explain I was still their tech contact. Justified it, saying HQ had some new tech resources supposedly available to help. Ooh. Yeah. I didn't mark this as like okay for kids, but I'm probably not going to read a whole lot that's got too many swear words. Yeah, that was a good one. Probably have time to find one more. Let's see. Oh. Oh, okay. I have heard of this happening to somebody. So we'll see if this is similar. It does have the caveat that is not in the US, by the way. Not a word from you about your resignation until I approve it. I used to be an operations engineer on a 1-year contract in a small department. There were only 4 of us, and the seniors absolutely hated doing additional work. So when there was additional networking stuff required as part of a new project, it was dumped onto me. I didn't mind doing it as I was learning new stuff, but the lack of appreciation from the rest of the team and being underpaid made me look for other jobs when my 1-year contract was almost up. Fortunately, I was able to get a much better offer from one of my ex-employers with about a month to go for my current contract. My current company never reached out to me to talk to me about renewing my contract, so I thought I'd just give them a heads up that I'm resigning and not renewing my contract. Seems reasonable. Yeah, they should have to get to you by like at least 30 days, if not like 45. My manager at the time used to be an engineer like us, but was promoted 6 months prior and was incredibly cocky because of that. I went into his office and handed him my resignation letter, told him I was resigning, and we would be happy to hand over my stuff and train the others before leaving. He takes a look at the letter, gets really pissed, and tells me he isn't going to sign and acknowledge the letter until he decides what date I'm allowed to leave. He said this will happen after he's found someone to replace me and when he's in a better mood, essentially trying to hold me hostage. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's no great. But my contract has only 1 more month. Before I could say the next 2 words, he says, "No more talking. Did you not hear me say I won't approve it until I'm happy? I don't want to hear a word about this from you until I'm ready. No, this was a very long time ago where resignations via email weren't as common. I thought about explaining to him when he had calmed down, but decided, F it. That's what he wants, then I'll comply. So I continued working for the rest of the month with absolutely no handover done until the last day. Absolutely. Nope, figured out. On the last day of my contract, I head into his office and hand him my laptop, badge, etc. What's this? My stuff. Today's my last day. Stop effing joking around. I told you that I haven't acknowledged your resignation letter yet, which, by the way, I've just decided your last day will be 2 months from now because we need to look for a replacement, train him up, and get a proper handover before you can leave. So keep your stuff and get back to work. He gives me this incredibly cocky look like he got me. Nope. My contract runs out after today. I'm not paid to work beyond that. You, what? Yep. I've been trying to tell you from the start. My resignation letter was a courtesy since my contract runs out anyway, but you didn't allow me to talk. You're effing bullshitting me. Nah, go call HR and check. See ya. I watch his face turn from anger and cockiness to shock as I walk away from his room. A few months later, I find out that he got a stern lecture by the director, even though he tried to put the blame on me. Ended up hiring a network engineer that cost triple what they paid me and breached multiple SLAs for the period before the new hire joined. Yeah. Like, you have to know when your people are working, especially if they're contract people. You shouldn't. And even if the manager doesn't, like, HR should have been on him saying who's going to be taking over for this person. Their contract is almost up. We don't have new hire information yet. So yeah, I wonder if, we might need more context on that one. But unfortunately, we got 292 comments. So let's see. But I didn't think you were serious. Yeah. My goodness. My goodness. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm not sure if I like this setup in here. We might need to move some stuff around, get a little closer to the wall. I do like having the twisty chair, but if that is distracting to you guys, let me know. Yeah, so go over to the new channel, KT 3.14. KT 3.14. It's capital K, capital T. If you know, you know. But anyway, yeah, so head over there and subscribe, hit the bell, do the things, and we'll be over there on Thursdays from here on out. Wednesdays are still here. We're still doing our short stories. We're just gonna try branching out a little bit and want to try to keep those separate. But I told you guys we were going to try to do it tonight, so we were trying to do it tonight. And yeah, I'll just move this over. You'll find it there if you want to go back and check these out. But yeah, please give me your other good subreddits, especially if it's something snarky. Yeah, I will probably try to at least put together a grouping for next week, so we can just kind of slide through. I don't know if we're going to do these live or if I might record them and then we can add some stuff, do some fun stuff. So if you know anybody who can teach me how to do that, or if I actually need to use like streaming software, if I'm going to record and then want to do stuff, which I probably should do anyway. Yeah, I am open to suggestions and learning and teaching me stuffs. So, yeah, I am going to hop off of here, eat something really quick, and then we've got the Cozy Coven tonight at 9 o'clock. Also, I think on the YouTubes. Yes. So yeah, check out the Cozy Coven here in an hour. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.